Absolutely. And as a recovering addict, this is where I really understood this once it was kind of brought to my attention. And it wasn't really brought to my attention by someone else, but rather it was my own experience. And then I was seeking external validation like, am I onto something? Like, is this what's happening? Which leads me to the second point, that if we want to control our emotions, and don't see this as a bad thing, but rather harness our emotional energy, maybe that's a better phrase, we have to look to breathing. And it's so interesting because I've been teaching yoga for more than 20 years, and people coming into class, and it's every time you'd sit down, you're like, we're going to start some breathing. Usually 80% of the class is like, oh, get to the good stuff. And breathing is probably one of the most powerful tools that we can own. When we learn to tap into our breath, not only are we tapping into our autonomic nervous system, but here's the superpower of breathing. When we deep breathe, specifically belly breathe, we trigger what's called the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve is really just kind of new in science and research right now. We knew about it, but now they're finally uncovering more and more research in regards to it, that when we deep breathe, it triggers our vagus nerve and it puts us into a deep state of relaxation. This is why it's so important when you find yourself procrastinating. Remember, there's like anxiety and negative emotions attached to procrastinating. When we do that, our brain actually stores what we're experiencing in that very moment when we start deep breathing in a different part of our brain. And so when we go back to that same scenario again, it's not the, oh my gosh, I don't like this. They're going to hate me. This is a bad idea. This like all of that scenario we tell ourselves, which is why we procrastinate. Those things are stored in a different part of our brain. So when we go back into that situation again, instead of pulling from the negativity, instead of pulling from the thoughts that's like, you're bad, you suck, this is not going to work, go do something that makes you happy like Facebook, we stay with what it is that we're doing, the task at hand, to get us to the long-term goal that we want.